I was sitting in the movie theater. This was something that was Chuck's pick, my husband. He said, we have to go see this. And I said, great. So we're sitting in the theater and he goes, by the way, did you hear that Disney stopped this movie from being made? He goes, I really kind of want to see it because of that. And I was like, oh, okay. What's going on with that?
Interest.
Right? Hi, I'm Reba Hervis, Artistic Director at Overshadowed Theatrical Productions, along with Rebecca Leland. Welcome to this week's episode from the Wings. So, Rebecca, you saw it just last night or a couple of days ago?
I saw it 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
Yeah.
And?
Wow. Like, we're going to start with, I think, as a movie.
Let's just talk about it as a movie.
As a movie, incredible. Like, shot for shot, even the writing I thought was incredible, but just visually and, like, the audio, I was amazed.
I'm going to say something very controversial.
You didn't like it?
No, I don't like Jim Caviezel as an actor because I don't like the way he talks husky and breathy. And you know him, right? He was famous, I think, for playing Jesus in The Passion of the Christ.
I did not recognize him.
So, yeah.
Wow.
He definitely has a different look this time because he's all blonde. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the actual story about Disney?
So Disney says that when they fact-checked it, that they felt like the facts, since it was being offered as a true story, they felt like they couldn't do it because it was not entirely a true story. That facts had been omitted, changed, enhanced, you know. And so that actually is what piqued my interest about the controversy. Because for me, I was like, okay, well, wait a minute. I mean, you know, we have said Disney has gone and done it this time. So it's not like we're supporters of saying, you know, the Disney should or shouldn't have.
Yeah.
That didn't play into it. I do think that if it's portrayed as a Christian movie, that you have to be careful about what you say is fact and fiction, because I think our word should mean something to us, right? 2 minutes afterwards, about after the credits, Jim Caviezel comes on and he gives in his husky, breathy voice. He starts telling about the problems of that, you know, that their Angel Studio has, you know, had trouble getting people to see this film, and that you as an audience member can fight this because you can take your phone and scan right now and buy tickets for somebody else to come see this. And we're not going to let the world defeat this message. You can stop it and you can give right now. What do you think about that message?
Okay, so maybe that I liked it, honestly. I really did, because in my opinion, and there were obviously controversy where people were like, why didn't he come on and say, thank you for coming to see this film. Here's a place that you can give against. Here's a place you blah, blah, blah.
Yes, that's actually my thought too. It's like just giving the money to the studio.
But
go ahead.
Why did they make the film?
That's a very good question, isn't it?
Yes. And I would say in me viewing it, I saw that and I said they made the film to bring awareness. And how do you make a film show awareness? It's by letting people watch the film. So in my mind, their first and foremost responsibility was to get the film out and to get a lot of people to see it. The more people that see it, they're going to be, and I was influenced to, I want to give toward this, and I in my own time can go out and find organizations and even find their organization to give toward. But in that moment, they were like, I have your attention. He even said, like, there's no place like a movie theater because you don't have distractions, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So I was like, I saw it not as like a PR stunt, and maybe it was.
I think it's 100% a PR stunt. I felt like it took a wonderful movie and a wonderful experience and turned it into a marketing ploy for me. And so actually I was in it until they did it, and then it took me out. I felt manipulated.
Why wouldn't you want someone to see the film?
It's not that I don't want them. I just felt like it all of a sudden became about them selling more tickets. And because so I felt manipulated, that it was like it just was that.
Why would it
so
be a bad thing
to be manipulated?
Why would it be a bad thing to sell more tickets?
Because it's not all about the organization anymore. It's like, okay, we're gonna make this be a number one in the box office. And in fact, the Julie Roy's report, one of the things that they say about it is that they were sneaky in the fact that they released it on the 4th of July so that they could have so that they could advertise it as a #1 in the box office for that weekend. Well, nothing else was out at that particular time, and people weren't going to movies, and so it made it #1. I just think it's semantically cheap. It's a cheap stunt.
Why do we ask people to subscribe? That's a cheap stunt to be like,
100%.
Hey, we want you to subscribe. We want you to subscribe.
100%.
We believe in what we're saying.
But
we're not just making this for fun. And I feel like they believe in what they're saying. And what they're saying is we need to save children.
I agree, but then why don't they give us a place to give the money where it's actually doing something that's actual, okay, you being aware of it or somebody else being aware, that's nice, you're aware of it. But does that put feet to the real problem? That's actually the thing that I feel like is the thing that hurts me the most. Is like, okay, if this is a huge problem, tell me what I can do. Because it says go out and do something. What is it that I can do? Where can I actually give the money? Because I am offended that this problem is. So tell me what I can do. And selling tickets is not necessarily doing it. It makes people aware of it, but it doesn't fix the problem. So if right then in that moment they would have said, here's the way you can give to our organization. Take out your phone and you can donate right now to this cause so that
you would have wanted
and
that.
Every $20 that we get or whatever it is will help us save 5 children. Like the way they do when there's water, that you need to do.
Yeah.
I probably would have picked up my phone and given to that. Okay. But by the fact that it was
give a ticket.
I
understand. Yeah.
It for me was like
off-putting. Yeah. You didn't agree with their mission. Like they're like, we're gonna make a movie to make people watch this movie. You're like, make a movie but then add another step.
Or don't claim that the reason you're doing it is to solve this problem. Say, yes, we want to build awareness, and that's plain and simple the goal. But I think they did it like, this is a serious problem, so we want you to buy more tickets. I think if it was a documentary, it would hold more water.
Yeah,
so I just want you to know up front, I think it was a movie. Yeah. We watch movies all the time. It could be a complete lie, everything they brought up and everything that they're saying, 100%, and it doesn't matter. It was a movie. And I think that that's something we need to keep in mind
while we go into this.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, the controversy that is around it is that it's making it seem like it's a factual movie, and it doesn't really tell the true story of Operation Underground Railroad, which is what they are referring to as OUR, Operation Underground Railroad. I'm going to read or talk a little bit now about an article in the Roy's report. Her bio says Julie Roy's is a veteran investigative reporter and the founder of what is called the Roy's Report. She has an article on her Roy's report that just came out a couple of days ago, and I highlighted several things that you can feel free to jump in and give your opinion on it. So
specifically on
the Sound of Freedom. We're not going to talk about the other stuff. So she definitely feels like Tim Ballard, who is the man that the story is about. She says whose talent for self-promotion has earned him headlines and head-scratching from those who fact-check his claims. Keep in mind, she's an investigative reporter, right? So they started, I guess, reporting on Operation Underground Railroad, which is what the movie is based on, back in 2021. OUR itself, Operation Underground Railroad, actually says on its own website that it has rescued and supported thousands of survivors in 28 countries and 26 U.S. states, including 3,000 around the world in 2019 alone. The charity's annual report said it took in more than $21 million in donations that year, which was then the last year they had data for. But it turns out it was just getting started. In 2021, the organization took in more than $42 million. But here's where it gets interesting. I'm reading from the Roy's report. And that same year, 2021, the organization spent only $31 million on its work of rescuing these victims. The year before 2020, the numbers were even more strange. The OUR organization took in $45 million, but spent only $13 million. It had a whopping $33 million in profit. They talk a little bit about some of the situations that they've come out and they've said they were focused on. In one case, they talk about a Haitian American boy that was near Haiti, who it ended up being unsuccessful. And there's another one that they said that they were raising money for, and that it ended up that they never did anything. And they said that there's no training at all that's going on for jump raids. There's no surveillance for targets. There's no development of assets. There's no validating the people that they sought to rescue that had in fact been trafficked. They told of operations that involved taking the money into the clubs and bars to encourage the pimps to show up. They talked about how they had been trafficked themselves instead of they actually felt victimized.
Wow. And these are people who work with the organization.
Yes. And so they say, in my opinion, that what he was doing is creating a demand. We're not discerning. And we listen to something, and if somebody tells us it's truth, we just believe it. It's like, oh, Rebecca told me, so it must be true. And that's the reason I wanted to quote who I was reading from, because I don't know if she's right, but I do know she's done a lot of investigative reporting for a lot of different sources, and it just seems like she probably did her research and tried to find out what was right. That being said, I think it's a story who needs to be told. I think that just we as Christians can't look at it like, oh, well, and do we really want to scan our picture at the end of it and buy tickets? You can if you want to, but your money might not be going where you think it's going.
Yeah. That is so interesting. Out of my research, I didn't bring receipts. I should have probably.
It's okay.
But Tim Ballard, Angel Studios.
Oh, so make that distinction.
Yes. So Underground Railroad, Tim Ballard, that's the organization. And that's where the stories are coming from, and he's the one who's giving the information. But Angel Studios is actually the studio put it together.
What's Angel Studios famous for?
The Chosen.
The Chosen, yeah.
But
that's awesome.
They're LDS.
Yes.
So okay. Latter-day Saints.
Yes, right. Which is a little bit, we keep saying one day we're going to talk about the Chosen on here. But that's definitely a controversy for some people too, the fact that is Latter-day Saints.
When I watched this movie, I loved that they had cross necklaces. I loved that when he looked at a bad guy, he said, "May a millstone be tied around your neck." And you're like, yes, that's Bible. Like, he was quoting scripture in it. And the reason, God's children are not for sale. You're like, yes, I believe this as a Bible-believing Christian. And I think the LDS Church, I don't believe, believes the gospel.
Right.
They're doing a great job here on earth, and they are making amazing products here on earth, but they're not eternal. They're making a really cool product that we as Christians can get behind, but then you have to see what is their heart. Their heart is not, God's not in it.
Right.
And if he's not in it, it's going to have problems.
Right.
So I think as believers, we need to be, what you said, discerning. And I think when it comes to media, we cannot veg. We cannot turn off our brains and say, well, I gave my $7 to see this in the movies. I'm giving toward a really good mission. No, you need to take time, use your brain. Media is not brainless anymore. It's not just brainless entertainment.
And I think that people have a mission, and it might not be the mission that we see.
Yeah.
We might think this mission is to build awareness, to gain money, to go and save children. But that may not really be what the mission is at all. My mission may be, when I'm buying you a ticket, it's because you can't afford it and I want you to have it, and that's okay. I just want you to know what your mission is and not blindly jump into a bandwagon that you may not really understand what it is. And again, it's a great movie. Watch it. Just
be aware.
Be aware.
And I would say goes for almost everything we watch. Go into it understanding some stuff, or research it afterward. I waited to research it till after I saw the movie. I wanted to see the movie, see what it was about, and then research afterward. But when we did, it was it's shocking and it's sad, and it's okay to say there's controversy behind this movie, but I stand against child trafficking. You don't have to say
you don't. It's not one or the other. No. It really isn't. You may not feel that Tim Ballard deserves his hero status. Maybe you're there, but it doesn't mean that you don't think that the mission itself is one that people need to be aware of. So I don't know where you're going to end up on that. So let us know. Read the controversies. See the movie. What would you give it?
The movie itself, I would give it like a 7.5. I really was thrilled by it. I was excited. I didn't actually know how the ending was going to happen.
Yeah.
I thought maybe they were, I don't know.
You didn't know if they were going to get him.
No.
And we're not telling you.
Right.
If they're
But
going to get him.
I would say it was actually very thrilling, and I would say it's not Mission Impossible, but it was good.
Yeah. I would say I'd probably give it a little less because I don't like Jim. Sorry, Jim. Sorry. Hashtag don't like Jim. No, I don't know. So I'm probably going to give it a 6.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm a little harsher because I just can't stand his voice.
Yeah. Would you give it a thumbs up, thumbs down?
I'd give it a thumbs up for sure.
Yeah.
I think that you all should go see it. It's a good thing to set good things.
Yep.
And there was nothing about the movie that I felt like even the talk about the porn or the sexual activity and things like that, I felt like it was done very cleanly.
Yes, some people said they didn't agree with, they said they showed too much. And I did hear that comment before going in. And as I watched it, I said, no, I thought they did it.
Yeah, I thought they did it very tastefully.
Respectfully.
They definitely let your mind go there because you knew what they were watching. But I think they handled it, for a topic so hard, they handled it really well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'd love to hear from you on this.
Yeah.
Until next time, this is just me.
And me.
Talking to you from the wings.